The Chiefs still have needs at the running back position that at least warrants the conversation of them bringing back a familiar face to help in the pass protection and receiving aspect on key third downs. And in this video, I'll share why I think that could be, but not before talking about Kansas officially passing a law to draw the Chiefs and Royals to their side of the border, as well as several interesting hot takes regarding the Chiefs this season. So let's talk about it. But first, how about those? All right, first up, earlier this week, I talked about the state of Kansas passing the Star Bonds bill in the House and Senate in an attempt to lure the Chiefs as well as the Royals to their side of the border. And all that was left for this to become official was the signature of Kansas's Governor Gov Kelly, and just like that, she signed the plan into law today. This will allow the issuing of billions of dollars via sales tax and revenue, i.e. Star Bonds, to help finance new stadiums for professional sports teams. After signing this, Gov Kelly said, by modifying the Star Bonds program, one of our strongest economic development mechanisms, lawmakers crafted a viable option for attracting professional sports teams to Kansas. So, yeah, the law officially authorizes Kansas to potentially issue Star Bonds to pay for up to 70% of the cost of stadiums for one or both teams, bringing that up from 50% where it was prior. The biggest issue here is this can be risky, and stadium projects like this over the years reportedly almost never earn back the amount of public aid that goes into them. That's a conversation for another day, because it looks like they may plan on using a variety of factors to pay all that back. But now that this is a thing, Kansas could seriously attempt to offer the Chiefs a shiny new stadium. And if Clark Hunt only has to fund 30% of it, he will definitely at least strongly consider this, as any wise businessman would, even if the iconic Arrowhead Stadium is a big part of his father's legacy. Ultimately, it's the team that really represents Lamar Hunt more than anything, not necessarily where exactly they play. Down the road, this may be worth a much more in-depth look, but I at least wanted to keep you guys in the loop and in the know about Kansas being very serious at trying to lure both of these professional sports teams over to their side of the border. The question is, how will the state of Missouri counter? Will they be able to offer enough to the Chiefs now to make it worth it? I certainly hope so, as I would love to see them remain at Arrowhead, but we will have to wait some years to truly find out. Next up, Connor Orr of Sports Illustrated recently released an article detailing 100 bold predictions for the NFL season, and he had a few involving the Chiefs that are worth taking a look at. The first one is something that I pray to the heavens above, please God, no, does not happen. And that is, the Chiefs will lose to the Bengals by 3 in the AFC Championship game after a phantom holding flag is tossed late in the fourth quarter to knock KC out of field goal range. Please, no. I was at the AFC Championship game in January of 2022 when the Chiefs lost to Cincinnati in overtime, and I would personally rather never experience that one ever again, especially to that team in particular. Connor then next boldly predicted that Justin Watson will lead all pass catchers in receiving touchdowns. I mean, that is definitely a bold take, considering the most receiving touchdowns Justin Watson has ever had in a season was last year with 3. Watson did have the third most yards on the team in 2023, racking up 460 of those bad boys on 27 catches, only behind Kelsey and Rice, who both nearly had 1,000 apiece. But Watson also was 4th in receiving touchdowns. Rice had 7, Kelsey had 5. McKinnon, talk more about him later, had 4, and then Watson had 3. Now, the thought behind the bold prediction is that with the retooled receiving room, defenses are going to be very busy, paying attention to players like Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, when he's not suspended if the suspension does indeed go down this year, and then of course, Travis Kelce. So maybe Justin Watson finds himself the ideal target based on coverages at times this season, especially in the red zone. The only issue I have here is, more times than not, Watson probably won't be the first or even second read of the play progression, but hey, if Justin Watson leads the team in receiving touchdowns, that would be wild, and I wouldn't be opposed. I'm gonna go with Hollywood Brown leading the charge, though, with Kelsey close behind. Now, for Connor's last bold take on the Chiefs, it's one that I do indeed hope happens, and that is the Chiefs will not finish among the top 10 in total drops after leading the league in drops last year with 44. Drops are bound to happen in a pass-heavy offense like the Chiefs, but still, 44 is unacceptable, and hopefully the new players brought in will help change that. Some did try to label Xavier Worthy as a receiver with drop issues when the Chiefs drafted him, saying that's not going to help the Chiefs overall in their drop issues this upcoming season. That is easily debunked when you consider the fact that the year he had a 10.6% drop rate, his 2022 season, Worthy played half the season with a broken hand. He also played through the entire season and didn't miss a single game, although he did struggle with drops as a result. And if you average out his drop rate during his 3 years at Texas, it's a 7.2% drop rate. That's actually a lower drop rate percentage than Puka Nacua, Jalen Waddle, Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf, Mike Evans, and Devontae Adams had last year. I know we can't directly compare college stats to active NFL players, but still, I said all that to say, I really think the Worthy drop concerns are overblown, and in theory, he shouldn't be a huge contributor or a huge problem with the team's drops this year. Deep balls are no easy task to locate, track, and catch when flying down the field. I get that, but I promise you he should do a better job than MVS did last year. It's a low bar after all, but I'm going to take it. And with that being said, I'd love to get your thoughts on some of these hot takes and see if you have any of your own. One of my hot takes is, I don't know if it's technically a hot take, but I still think the Chiefs could be bringing back or looking to bring back a familiar face in the running back room. After Pacheco and CEH, you have a bunch of guys battling it out. You have Deneric Prince, Keontae Ingram, Amani Bailey, Carson Steele, and the Welshman, technically labeled a running back, Louis Rees-Zammit. And while Brett Veach did say in a presser weeks ago that right now they're going to have all these guys battling it out for that RB3 spot, I'm at least still holding out hope for McKinnon that he will return and be the third down back he's been for the team over the last few years. Obviously, if the team doesn't think he's needed, that's fine, but he did sign with the team last year on May 1st after the draft in 2022, though. He signed with the Chiefs on June 13th, so it's June 21st as of when I'm recording this video. I'm saying that to say it's never too late to bring a veteran back like Jerick McKinnon. Not going to rule out his return, though I do understand he had another core muscle surgery at the end of last year, which is another injury he's had to recover from. He's also not getting any younger. He turned 32 in May, and then obviously the number he's worn with the team is now taken by Xavier Worthy, numero uno. In spite of all that, though, if Andy Reid and company aren't satisfied enough with the running backs they currently have rostered, especially in regards to pass protection, which I think they will get a better idea of come training camp when the pads can come on, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't at least reach out to Jerick McKinnon about one last hurrah. If you have a young left tackle out there in either Wanye Morris or Kingsley Suamataia, pass protection from your running back on key third downs is going to be that much more important. None of the running backs battling it out right now have that experience. They don't have the experience McKinnon has in picking up pressure to give Mahomes more time, and honestly, even at the age of 32, nobody will probably even do this better than he can. 86.5% of McKinnon's snaps last year were either to pass protect for Mahomes or as a receiver out of the backfield. Next was CEH at 68.9%. He kind of picked up the slack when Jerick McKinnon got injured. And then Pacheco was at 58.9%. When looking at those stats, though, maybe they think Clyde Edwards-Helaire could be that guy, not at a McKinnon level as far as pass protection and receiving out of the backfield goes, but Clyde was a receiving back out of college, and he did step up for McKinnon last season. It's definitely a possibility. But then what about a valuable depth piece that could do it if Clyde ever got hurt? After all, he does have a decent injury history, to say the least. Pacheco is already running his tail off on most first and second down, so he can't do everything. They use him as the main workhorse. You know, maybe one of the young guys starts showing promise come training camp, but it's still a bit of a risk to rely on a young player's potential what if, especially for something as important as pass protecting Patrick Mahomes or catching passes out of the backfield on key third downs. And that's why I agree with Lyle Graverson, the author of this Arrowhead Addict article here, in his assessment of the running back room that I'm about to read. The crazy part is, I was writing today's video on this very thing with a similar opinion when I stumbled across his thoughts, and I think it's powerful to echo statements to know I'm not alone in my thinking. Anyway, Lyle said this: so it feels to me like the Chiefs have to make some kind of signing before the season starts. Maybe they want to see how the young guys respond first, but it just doesn't feel like they have enough reliable options, especially since both Pacheco and CEH have some injury history. I wouldn't rule them out bringing back Jerick McKinnon, ding ding ding, at some point, but I also think he has looked like he is gradually slowing down, which happens at his age in the NFL. And yes, McKinnon is not getting any younger. I made that clear earlier, but the available running backs out there right now in free agency are pretty slim at this point in time. Dalvin Cook could in theory be that guy, but editor Troy, the guy who edits these videos, Wave high, Troy. He's a lifelong Vikings fan, and sadly, he thinks Dalvin is cooked. No pun intended. There's also Cam Akers, a guy who could fill that role, but he tore his left Achilles back in November after tearing his right Achilles in 2021 and is still trying to come back from that. There's also Latavius Murray, there's Kareem Hunt, among others. You can see the list here. But regarding Kareem Hunt, we know how things ended with him here in KC. He's probably not coming back. So you guys got to let me know your thoughts on the running back situation. Should the Chiefs look to bring McKinnon back, or maybe another veteran with experience in pass protection? If so, what vet would you like to see? Or do you think KC may just let the young guys battle it out, and whoever shows the most promise is going to get that opportunity? And I do also want to bring up this option. Shout out to Big Sports Guy on Twitter. He said, I think we should wait until camp starts and see what teams cut veteran running backs that get their job taken away by younger guys. So that is also definitely an option. Yeah, you could choose from a available free agent still, but you could also wait and see what running backs get cut from other teams and maybe add them if you think they are better than the free agents that are available out there. Anyway, that's all for today. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?